thatch roof. This is a combination of wood and masonry at the bottom. Okay, one thing that we want to be comfortable, so we get an air conditioner. And they're incredible machines because it's amazing that you can control the humidity and the temperature with the machine. One thing to keep in mind about air conditioning is that for the most part, you're recycling the same air. So it's not that healthy. One thing that we can do to reduce our impact is in our behavior. If it's cold, put a sweater on. Here in a very hot, tropical, humid climate, people don't sleep in beds. They sleep in hammocks. And even the blue bloods in the city, they have nice, credible Victorian homes. They don't sleep in beds, they sleep in hammocks. Why? Because it's a lot cooler to sleep in a hammock. These are all different techniques. This is a ceiling photo. You're seeing your beams, vigas, and these we call them latillas. And I've done this on many projects, and then on top of that, I will use a good insulating material, like a good hardboard insulating material. Most of your heat gain is going to come through your roof. So we live in the 21st century. I'm not saying don't use new materials or fabricated material. Just weigh what benefits you're going to get from using a fabricated material. And most probably you'll come up with a combination of materials and techniques and appliances that is going to make your building have less of an impact on the planet. We're running out of resources. We're getting less and less of resources. We have to change this ship, this huge ship, which is a construction industry that is so intent on doing the things the way they've always made them, and we have to turn it around. And there's a lot of lessons in the past or from less developed cultures that somehow are more in tune with the climate than we are. Sometimes we get wrapped up in how technologically advanced we are, and we are, but sometimes we want to cut off all that knowledge from our ancestors. But it's coming back. And you can come up with some very attractive features. This, for instance, is forged iron. Wood doors, mesquite doors. People pay a lot of money for these doors, antique doors. Why can't we make them now? There's plenty of mesquite out there. Government pays you to burn the mesquite and just burn it in a pile. If you're going to burn all that cedar, my wife is a rancher from West Texas. The government pays them to cut down the cedar and burn the cedar. Okay, well, if you're going to do that, why don't you build a kiln and burn some limestone and make your own lime cement? Or fire some clay and make some tiles. Do something with that energy that you're going to do. You want a fence made of Oregon cactus? And you see, in most cities there's a limit to how high you can make your fences. But if it's some organic material, you can go as high as, there's no law against that. Some people want really tall fences. Most cities will tell you, okay, you can only go 6 feet. Well, if you plant trees and plants, they can go as high as you want. Okay, I'm going to show you some examples of modern projects with real clients built in the last few years by very able craftsmen that still are have these techniques that grandparents were doing, their great-grandparents were doing. That's one, there's few countries left, and Mexico is one of them, where there's still people that are using ancient technologies, very primitive technologies. And a lot of high-end clients want that. It's not just for the very poor anymore. This project is in Austin, right outside of Austin. Austin is blessed with a lot of good limestone. Here we're making a water drain for the roof out of one stone. So you can get really creative with the. And we acquired the stone 20 feet from where the house was being built. That's what it looks like in place. If you go to some of our quarries, limestone quarries here in Central Texas, over there by Florence, a lot of limestone quarries there. It's like being in the candy shop. They have these, what they call the bone piles, which is all this discarded material that they cut with their high-tech saws, but they weren't just perfect, so they just discard them. And you can go there with the trailer and just fill it up with material. They charge you by the pound. It's just amazing how inexpensive you can get. It's one of those secrets out there that I highly recommend you to just go there. You can just have so much fun.
Where is it?
Where? Florence, Texas, in that area, just west of Georgetown. There's a lot of limestone quarries around there. This is a project very close to where I live in Austin, where we used the stone that was around there. Just picking it off the ground to build this water feature on the landscape. A little cascading feature that we just used the material that was floating around there. Okay, this is a project also in Austin. Got all sorts of awards. This is what we typically call here saltillo tile, made with low-fired clay. This is limestone. They required 20 feet from here without power tools, just hammer and chisel. And this, okay, we use a combination of really high-end appliances. This is a tub, one of those modern tubs that have a moat around it and turns colors, and it's a whole experience. Okay, we covered everything with hand-carved stone. Got an AIA award. Here we are, sun-drying adobe. I believe here in Bastrop you could make some good adobes, maybe with some tweaking of the earth. Rammed earth, one of my favorite ways of building. Rammed earth, and we're blessed with really good material for rammed earth in Central Texas. This particular building is built with, the walls are built with decomposed granite. This is the type of granite that you'll see in your hike and bike trails, in your garden paths. It really compacts really well. And you can see the process of rammed earth. You build one piece, then the other piece, and then you tie it in, and you put your lintel. These are granite lintels. Central Texas, we're blessed in the granite shoals, that area. Lots of good granite. The Capitol, of course, is made out of granite. The granite's not going anywhere. It's not going to burn, and it's just going to last forever. Of course, we had to use a crane to put this lintel up because it's probably 3 tons that it weighed. But we're using heavy timber. Okay, rammed earth walls, granite lintels, heavy timber for columns, on stone base. Okay, another very good material for rammed earth, for compressor block construction is caliche dirt, which is a lime dirt. You don't have caliche here in Bastrop, but you don't have to go far to get it. And all your road builders, that's what they use as a base. Use caliche base. It's an excellent building material. So we're using caliche, which is really decomposed limestone, that's what it is. And we're using limestone lintels. Yes, sir.
Pardon my ignorance, but rammed earth implies pressing it together. What knits it together and makes it not just crumble?
It's the compression of it, the tamping of it. Just like in the geological process, a lot of our stone is created because of compression through millions of years. Okay, you're accelerating that compression when you're doing rammed earth. And this is a house in West Texas. It's really damn hot in West Texas in the summer. You walk into this house and it's nice and cool. It does have air conditioning because the clients insist on air conditioning. So you put it in, you satisfy your clients, you put it in. Maybe they'll turn it on once or twice a year, just to cool it down in those really extreme days that we might have.
So is there a place where you can go and buy rammed earth, or do you have to hire someone to
No, you don't
create
buy
this
rammed earth.
product?
You buy the earth, or you get the earth out of your site, or you have a truck bring earth to your site, and then you build the wall. They're very heavy walls, so you have to design your foundation and your slab accordingly. And that's where you get a structural engineer to calculate your foundation. Once you have that resolved, you build it. But you don't buy a built rammed earth section. You build it at the site. You either use the earth at your site if it's good enough, or you can tweak it till you get it to work, or you find the closest place where there is a good, acceptable earth. In this particular ranch, we found that the caliche dirt in the ranch next door was a little bit better than the one here, so we just brought it over from the next door ranch. And the guy was pleased to, for a few pennies, get all this material. And it's the bulk of your building. If you start looking at your buildings and say, okay, how much of that volume is, what are you using, what's the main ingredient of your building? Usually the walls are by far the biggest ingredient. So if you're using the natural unprocessed material to build your walls, imagine the minimizing of that impact your building is having on the planet. And you're creating a very pleasant building where an air conditioner is just sort of after the fact, just in case it gets so bloody hot that you have to use it. It's a backup instead of a necessity. We have been trained, unfortunately, and my hat's off to Mr. Carrier, who invented the air conditioner, because it is an incredible machine, but we've come to depend too much on it, frankly. And you really don't need it. If you have good cross ventilation, good shading, good mass in the walls, and most of us, I didn't grow up with air conditioning, and I grew up in a very hot climate. But nowadays, you say no air conditioning, people just panic. Somebody had a question? Yes, sir.
What kind of flooring do you use? Is it the same kind of compressed?
You can do that. You can use earth for flooring, the temp earth, and they're very attractive. In this particular project, we had clay tile as a flooring, and it's inspired on the forms that our early settlers were using. Okay, and for instance, one thing that you'll notice is, depending on the on the size of the trees that you find in that area, you can minimize not having to have huge trees to build your project by doing a gabled roof and then having shed roofs coming off that. And so you minimize the impact, yes?
Question. Is it pretty difficult to find an actual builder that uses this method to build? Or
I can give you my phone. Well, you know, I encourage competition, because if we build like this, we're not going to be so dependent on the Middle East and other countries that are holding us hostage just because we need their oil. You know, so I welcome the competition. My students, they're going to be my competitors really soon, and we don't need so many resources as we think we need. We've just been educated to think that we need all this stuff, but we don't. Yes, sir.
In building this, is the price comparable? What's, like to build?
You know, if you keep it, a lot of my clients want all this incredible craftsmanship, and that really raises the price because it's very time consuming. But if you keep it simple, say maybe 20% above your typical conventional stud sheetrock house. But this is going to last you a long, long time. You're not going to use, that's it. There's no siding on this. There's no painting going on. That's it. And you have a cool house. So if the trick is to convince your client, okay, oh, well, this build over here will build me really cheap. Well, that's what you get, a cheap house. So natural materials. And sometimes I get